In a land where silence carries the weight of gunfire and every shadow hides a story, a new chapter begins. The plains are restless, the mountains whisper of change, and the law is about to ride in. The screen is black at first. A low rumble of thunder grows. A streak of lightning cuts across the night sky. As the sound fades, the frame opens to a wide shot of a vast western plain, golden grass bending against a cold wind. The land feels empty but heavy with untold stories. A faceless narrator speaks. Calm but powerful, Yellowstone left its mark. A legacy of power, of land, of blood. But where one story ends, another begins. The ranch is behind us now, but the fight for survival, that never changes. The visuals shift quickly, fast flashes of distant mountains, wild horses running, a storm moving across the horizon. The frontier has always been wild, but now it's lawless. And in that lawlessness, men rise, men fall, and justice rides on the backs of those who dare to carry the badge. A badge glints in the firelight, half covered by dust. A hand reaches down, picks it up, and pins it onto a coat. The camera lingers just long enough for the audience to feel the weight of what it means. This is not just another tale of cattle and land. This is the story of lawmen who stand where no one else will. They are not saints. They are not saviors. They are marshals. And they bring order to a world that fights against it. The music grows darker, drums building, a low hum rising like a storm about to break. Quick cuts flash across the screen. Silhouettes of riders against the sunset. An outlaw staring down the barrel of a rifle, a town covered in dust and silence, as if holding its breath. But out here, justice has a cost. Every choice writes a new line in the dirt. Every decision decides who lives and who dies. And in this land, the law is only as strong as the men who carry it. The pacing slows. A wide shot shows a town at dawn still, quiet, a single horse tied outside the saloon. Then suddenly, gunfire echoes. The silence is shattered. Welcome to Marshals. The next chapter in the Yellowstone legacy, where the fight is not just for land, but for law itself. The music surges, drums pounding louder, a deep western guitar riff blending into the storm sounds. The narrator's voice hardens. The law rides in. But in a world like this, who decides what justice truly means? The screen fades to black. Then in bold white letters against the darkness, Marshall Season 1, a beat of silence. Then a whisper, almost like a warning. The frontier has a new reckoning. Asterisk, the screen opens to the sound of boots crunching on dry dirt. Dust swirls in the morning light as a rider approaches a small town. His face is hidden beneath the brim of his hat, but the way he carries himself tells the audience he has seen battles, made choices, and carries the weight of both. The narrator's voice cuts through the silence, calm but sharp. The ranch wars have ended. The blood has dried on the land that men once killed for. But peace in the frontier is nothing more than smoke in the wind. Because where there is power, there will always be those who fight to control it. The visuals shift broken fences, burnt-out wagons, saloons with their doors swinging wide, whispers echoing in the dust. A town caught between progress and ruin. This is a new era. No longer about who owns the cattle or who holds the deed to the land. Now the fight is about something bigger. Who holds the law? Who dares to enforce it when everyone else runs? A close-up shows a U.S. Marshals badge being laid flat on a wooden table. The badge is scarred, bent, proof of countless battles. A hand presses it down firmly, as if to say, this is the beginning. The narrator's tone hardens. The marshals ride not for glory, not for riches, but because without them, the frontier will eat itself alive. Every outlaw with a pistol, every drifter with nothing to lose, every town living in fear, they need someone who will not look away. Quick flashes now fill the screen. A train ambushed in the dead of night, its flames lighting the desert sky. A family huddled in a cabin, praying as shadows move outside their door. A young boy staring at a marshal riding past, eyes wide with both fear and hope. But don't mistake them for heroes. These men carry scars deeper than their guns can reach. They have lost families. They have buried brothers. They have been betrayed, and yet they ride on. The music swells low strings mixed with the sound of wind whistling across empty plains. The Yellowstone legacy was built on land. Why? Marshals is built on justice. Not the kind written in books. Not the kind delivered in courtrooms. Out here, justice is fast, sharp, and often final. One wrong move, and you don't get a second chance. The visuals slow, giving time to breathe. A marshal standing on a ridge, looking over an endless valley. A woman in a long coat, gripping a rifle as she watches shadows moving in the trees. A wanted poster nailed to a wall, the face blurred, the bounty high. This is the new frontier, where power isn't measured in cattle or land, but in how far you're willing to go to keep order. Where the law is fragile, and every day could be the last for those who carry it. The voice softens, almost like a warning whispered in the wind. And yet, they come, they answer the call. They ride into towns that spit their names, into valleys where bullets wait, into the heart of danger itself. Because if they don't, no one else will. A beat of silence. Then the music surges again, louder, bolder, carrying a sense of danger and destiny. This is not the old Yellowstone. This is something darker. Something sharper. Something that will test not just the strength of a badge, but the soul of the man who wears it. The visuals speed up quick cuts of riders charging through dust, outlaws loading rifles, marshals staring down enemies across a saloon floor. The storm is building. The narrator delivers the final blow of this section. The frontier has been waiting, and now the law rides in to claim it. But in this land, the line between marshal and outlaw is thinner than a breath. Cross it once, and there's no turning back. The screen fades to black. A single sound echoes, the sharp snap of a revolver being cocked. Then, the words appear in bold white letters. Why? Marshals, the new era begins. Asterisk. The screen fades in slowly an empty street at dusk. The sound of a lone church bell echoes, each toll cutting through the silence like a warning. A tumbleweed rolls across the dirt road, untouched. No one dares to move. Not yet. The narrator's voice returns, heavy and sharp. Every law carries a price. Every badge leaves a mark. And out here, the fight for justice isn't just against the outlaws, it's against the land itself. And the men who would see it burn. A quick flash cuts through, a gang of masked riders storming into a town. Pistols raised high. A family dragged from their home in the middle of the night. A marshal crouched behind a wagon, his hand trembling on the grip of his revolver. The marshals have come to bring order, but order is not welcomed by all. There are men who live off chaos. Men who profit when the law is weak. They see every badge as a target. Every lawman as a dead man waiting for the dirt. Music shifts, faster drums. Sharp violin strings, tension building. We see a close-up, a wanted poster nailed to a wall, the ink still wet. The camera lingers on the reward, $10,000 dead or alive. Then a voice cuts in, not the narrator's but the low, gravelly growl of an outlaw. Badges don't scare me. Men do, and marshals bleed just like the rest of us. Gunfire erupts. The screen shakes with the blast of dynamite, sending a saloon door flying into the street. The chaos is loud, violent, relentless. The narrator cuts back in, steady against the noise. But the true enemy is not always the one who rides with a mask. Sometimes, it's the man standing right beside you, a slow shot, two marshals facing each other in the rain, one with his gun already drawn. Betrayal written in silence. The music drops low, a single heartbeat thudding in the background. Alliances will break. Trust will shatter. And the men sworn to uphold the law will find themselves fighting not only outlaws, but each other. Quick cuts again, a marshal slamming another against a wall, fists flying. A council meeting in a dimly lit room, voices raised in anger. A desperate woman whispering to a marshal, "You don't know who you can trust." The tempo rises. Shots overlap faster and faster, gunfights in open fields, horses thundering across rivers, outlaws burning a ranch to the ground, marshals running through alleys under a rain of bullets. This is not a fight for glory. This is survival. Every sunrise is a gamble. Every sunset is a victory. And every shot fired decides who will see the next day. The narrator's tone grows colder, darker, but the greatest danger isn't the bullets. It's the choices. Do you uphold the law when it means betraying a friend? Do you protect the innocent when it means losing everything you love? Do you stand your ground when the world itself wants you buried? The screen slows once again, time stretching. A marshal drops to his knees, his badge falling into the dirt. Blood stains the ground beneath him. The silence after the gunfire is louder than the shots themselves. The law is heavy. And not every man is strong enough to carry it. The music swells, climbing to its highest point. Quick flashes explode across the screen like sparks in the dark. Marshals in a brutal standoff with outlaws on a canyon ridge. A child crying as the town burns behind him. A marshal screaming into the night sky, fists clenched around his weapon. A hand shaking as it pulls the trigger in slow motion. The narrator delivers the blow, final and unyielding. In why, Marshals, justice is never clean. It is written in dust. It is paid in blood. And no man rides away untouched. The screen slams to black. A single sound lingers, the hollow echo of a gunshot that doesn't fade, but rings like a promise. Bold letters burn onto the screen, glowing like fire in the night. Betrayal, with blood, justice. Then, smaller text fades in beneath it. Why? Marshals Season 1. Asterisk, the screen is pitch black. For a moment, nothing moves. Then one sound. The steady click of spurs echoing down an empty street. Each step is deliberate, slow, heavy, the kind of sound that warns you danger is close. The narrator's voice cuts in, low and steady, as if holding back a storm. The frontier is not for the weak. It is for the few who dare to face it. Men and women who carry more than guns. They carry the weight of a world that refuses to be tamed. The music begins to rise again, a steady drumbeat like a war march. The visuals return in sharp bursts. A marshal stepping into the center of town, the sun blazing behind him. An outlaw standing in the shadows, his hand hovering over his pistol. The faces of ordinary townsfolk, fear in their eyes, hope hiding beneath it. This is the reckoning, the fight that will decide whether the frontier bends to law or breaks beneath chaos. Suddenly the screen explodes into motion. Horses thunder across a canyon ridge. Gunfire erupts in every direction. Flames swallow a barn hole, casting long shadows of men locked in combat. The music quickens, drums, strings, and deep horns building like a storm that cannot be stopped. The marshals have no promise of survival, only the knowledge that without them, there is nothing left but fear. Every shot they fire, every ride they make, every choice they carry, it is not just for themselves. It is for everyone who believes the law can still stand. The screen cuts to slow motion. A marshal, dirt and blood covering his face, lifts his badge from the ground. His hand trembles, but he pins it back onto his chest. Behind him, the flames rise higher, but he does not look back. But the question remains, how far will they go? What lines will they cross? And when justice demands blood, who is willing to pay the price? The music drops, suddenly silence. Only the wind whistling through the plains. Then a voice, soft and almost broken, whispers, "The law rides in." But the law does not always ride out. A gunshot shatters the silence. The screen flashes with a standoff at high noon, dust swirling between two men as their hands hover near their weapons. The tension is unbearable. The audience holds its breath, then rapid cuts, faster than the eye can follow. A marshal leaping from a horse into the middle of a fight. A woman aiming her rifle from a rooftop. A knife glinting in the dark before striking. The earth shaking as dynamite erupts along a canyon wall. The narrator's voice grows louder now. Powerful, almost like a battle cry. This is not just a story. This is not just a fight. This is the rise of a new frontier. The birth of justice written in blood and fire. This is why, Marshals. The screen flashes white, then black. Bold letters appear one by one, timed with the pounding music. Loyalty, betrayal, survival, justice. The music reaches its peak, horns blaring. Drums crashing, a storm unleashed. The narrator delivers the final line, sharp and unforgettable. The law rides in. And nothing will ever be the same. The screen slams to black. Silence, then the title fades in, glowing like embers. Why, Marshals Season 1, beneath it. The tagline appears in smaller text. The legacy continues. The law begins. The final sound hooves pounding, growing louder until they fade into the distance, fade out.